feel like the intro doesn't really match what we're about to talk about this morning, does it,
Yeah,
Tom?
we picked a bit more low-key.
Yeah, maybe. Well, look, normally we're just chopping it up, having a bit of a chat, but like the Crows have really been the centre of this massive story around the country over the past 24 hours. And I think the sentiment for so many loyal Crows supporters was that yesterday might have been a bit of a disappointing day to be a Crows fan. Was it a disappointing day to be a Crows player?
Yeah, it's a tough question. It's obviously difficult in terms of hearing a former player talk about stuff that is still affecting him, that happened when he was at the club. And for someone of he's obviously a club legend, but he's one of the all-time teammates that I've come across, and all the boys will echo that as well. And obviously the camp being 4 years ago, it's something that we've tried to move on from as a club, but to hear Eddie talk about it the way he did hurt, and that was tough for the playing group, especially the ones that were there at the time.
I mean, you're a young guy now, but you would have been really young when the camp was happening, right? Like that would have been sort of early days.
Yeah, I was in my third year. But yeah, there was a few different like tiers at the camp, different levels and stuff. So the stuff that Eddie went through was a little bit different than my experience. But either way, it's a tough thing to talk about, and hearing him talk on Fox Footy about how much it hurt him was even harder to listen to.
Right, so even within the camp, it was kind of like you weren't all together. You were broken up into different parts. Is that right?
Yeah, that's been well established, but it's something that we've it happened 4 years ago. So as a collective, we've tried to move on. But obviously, with Eddie's stuff coming out, it's going to get brought up, and we knew that. But it's something that, as difficult as it was to hear, we've tried to move on. Considering probably 60% of our playing group wasn't actually here at the time at all.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we were sort of going through some of the excerpts of Eddie's comments yesterday. It said there that players were blindfolded, loaded onto a bus with paper mache windows, with the Richmond song blaring. Were you a part of that?
There's a lot that has been said, that it all gets brought up in different perspectives too. There was a lot of people in different areas of the camp. There was a lot of stuff that happened at different times, not necessarily all in the camp. But not going to go into too much detail about that, because it's something that we don't want to perpetuate it and keep bringing it up and get it to a point where it's back in the news for other reasons. So.
We were getting questions as well on the text line this morning, 0400 919 919. Chris and Mitchum said, did at any point during the camp did you think to speak up? Did questionable activities feel like they were questionable at the time, or is this all in hindsight?
Well, again, it's different experiences for me. We were on a bit of a different camp, and ours wasn't at that level where we needed to speak up. It was a bit more like younger group. It was different. So you'd have to ask the top group and Eddie and stuff in that regard.
And there's obviously, like, I know you don't want to get into too much detail, but there's chat about fake weapons and that sort of stuff. And to me, it seemed like it was like an episode of SAS Australia. Was there like a military sort of theme to it? Was it like full boot camp, like what you see in the movies, like you being pushed to these extreme sort of levels? Was that sort of the sentiment?
No, not really. There was times where we were sort of it was more like team bonding and things like that in my group. But yeah, I know I'm broken record at the moment, but there was different groups, and so at a point where I can only talk so much to what was going on with ours. But a lot of the stuff that come out I wasn't privy to or didn't experience, so it's tough to comment on it. But in the end, it is something that we look back on. It was obviously something that the club went wrong with, but we move forward and hope that Eddie's doing better in the near future.
Are you going to be playing this weekend? You didn't play last weekend.
Nah, on another down note, I'm out again. Had a good week.
Not a lot of fun in this one, is there?
Probably just down the mood a bit. I might just head out. You guys can take over. No, I had a good week off. Got through training yesterday. I was non-contact, so I didn't do too many bumps and stuff, but the body felt good, not great. So I just want to get it to a point where the final two games I'm 100% and ready to go. So I'm hoping next week.
Yep.
The Crows travel to Perth to take on the Eagles Sunday Arvo at 3:40. Hopefully they can put the week's news behind them. Tom, thanks for fronting up to the music this morning and coming in for a chat.
No, it was a wonderful time, guys.
It was awesome, man.
And I really look forward to next week when we go into it again.
Yeah, no, we'll be just talking about movies and that sort of stuff next week, as per usual.